Hello, D Group. I'm just making a video version of what we talked about this last Monday on the 5 pillars of productivity. So this year, I want it to be, or the theme is to um, look back at how the year went prior, and then look forward and see how we can glorify God. And so, talking about why productivity matters and how a Christian does it as opposed to the world. So, let me go ahead and start. I'll put in the link where you can find Reagan Rose. This is where we're using his material as our primary source, which is Redeeming Productivity. Okay? So, let's begin. So, in order to build a life of productivity, we must begin by ensuring we are building on a sturdy foundation. In this first training, we look at the theological foundation for a Christian understanding of productivity. So, the first pillar of the 5 pillars is I belong to God. You are not your own, for if you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. That's for 1 Corinthians 6, 19 through 20. This verse tells us the origin of our productivity. 1. The world says we belong to ourselves, but the Bible says our lives are a stewardship under God. Pillar 2. You exist to glorify God. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. That's 1 Corinthians 10:31. This tells us the purpose of our productivity. The world says be productive so you can be successful. The Bible says to glorify God in all you do. Pillar 3, you were saved to bear fruit for God. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. John 15:8. This tells us the content of our productivity. The world says be productive in following your dreams. The Bible says be productive in following Christ. Pillar 4, you have been uniquely gifted by God. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. 1 Peter 4:10. This verse tells us the source of our productivity. The world says that we ought to be productive in our own power, but the Bible says we are productive in God's power. And the 5th and last pillar of productivity is that we will give an account to God. So then, each of us will give an account of himself to God. This tells us the motivation of our productivity. The world says be productive so you can get more of this life. The Bible says be productive so you can gain more of the next life. So just to review, the 5 pillars are: you belong to God, you exist to glorify God, you are saved to bear fruit for God, you have been uniquely gifted by God, and you will give an account to God. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm going to link the resource here, and we'll go from there. All right, God bless.